If you receive any value from the Derrick Cash podcast, please do me a favor and go to my Instagram. That is at DerrickAnthonyCash and follow me. That's at Derrick Anthony Cash at Instagram. Go ahead and follow me. With that said, people, are you living or are you just existing? Are you complaining or are you conquering? Are you going to tremble or are you going to allow your emotions to clash? It makes no difference because right now you're tuned in to the Derrick Cash podcast. This episode is episode 15, and I am calling it Christian Missionaries. Some talk it, but John Allen Chau walked it. One more time, I'm going to say it for those who didn't hear me. Christian missionaries, some talk it, but Chau walked it. I want to present to you all that I know on Friday, you all enjoyed Black Friday. You enjoyed stores and get these TV and black, because this was the only day in the year that the businesses, the stores were not in the green, but in the black, meaning they weren't making a profit on this day. They were actually just breaking even. That was Black Friday. Well, I experienced Black Friday, but for a different reason. I woke up on Friday morning and I witnessed something that was very gloomy, something sad, something real dark in my spirit. I understood to know that the following gentleman by the name of John Allen, was actually murdered in a missionary trip. And I tell you, I need to show you his face. I need to show you the screen that I'm watching. Let me go here. To all my people on YouTube, thank you for the support. All my people on Facebook, everywhere else, support. I wanted to highlight and pray for the family of John Allen Chau. We ask you to just right now be of comfort, be that peace that passes all understanding, and to do your work. But I wanted to today some understand that men abandon everything that's comfortable for them. They leave and they go to a different country and they seek to proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ, who don't on Facebook Live, who don't get to go to a news every week. They seek to go to those who have never heard the gospel of Jesus Christ. See the Sentinelese tribesmen and women that I love you and Jesus does too. I love you and Jesus does too. And when we think about that, definitely out taught, wasn't listening to what he was taught and what he was taught at Oral Roberts University and seminary, what he about. And so we commend him for that. And I wanted to go ahead and go to Matthew for those who understand, because we got to get an understanding. What is the premise? What is the basis for this? And when you are looking on the screen, you see that at Matthew chapter verses 16 through 20, it states, this is disciples went to Galilee. Jesus had told them to go. They worshiped him, but some doubted. Then Jesus came to them and said, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. And this is what John Allen Chau read and understood. Jesus says in verse 19, therefore go and make disciples of all nations. just some, all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. This is what John Allen Chau was seeking to do. He was seeking to go and make disciples of the people of the Andaman Islands, specifically the Sentinelese tribe. He was seeking to baptize them, and he was seeking to teach them to obey everything that Jesus had commanded him rather. And so here is the perplexing thing in this predicament, and I do disrespect John Allen Chau or his family in any way. What we find is this was a peculiar type situation. It was a peculiar situation because many who do research on the Andaman Islands and this group of people understand that it was illegal to go to these islands. It was illegal. It was illegal. This is a group of people, quite honestly, Black people in the middle of an Asian region. Say that one more time. Black people who are trying any contact with modern medicine, don't want any contactology. Modern people don't want any contact with them. They want to simply do what they've been doing for the past 40,000 years, and that is, quite honestly, survive on that island. It is said that they could be the first group that migrated from Africa, and all through down the line, they have remained at that island and have remained doing what they do, fending for themselves. And unfortunately, many times there have been people who have tried to go and intrude. There have been people that are giving them gifts and want to do studies and take genetic tests and all that stuff. You saw footage in the 1930s where people were going to that island, 1960s where people were going to that island, and they were met, quite honestly, with violence. They were met not with machine guns and other artillery, but were met with bows and arrows. And so think about this, you all. You have a group of people who have just dwelt with themselves for the entire existence of their lives, essentially. Their immune systems are very low. So anybody trying to come into their territory could bring a flu, could bring measles, mumps, rubella, whatever, and they could kind of wipe out based on those diseases. Witnessed some violence in their history. They've had British settlements to come, or British affiliations to come and make settlements on their islands, and they've had people come and try to exterminate them throughout their history. So there is fear. There has, just like in your culture, people have passed down lessons and warnings in their culture. I'm talking about the Sentinelese tribes, have passed down warnings and lessons in the church. And so it is, we have John Allen Chau. He goes to this region. He pays a fisherman to take him near the island. And then when he gets near the island, he gets on his individual kayak and goes to the island. This missionary is about his business. He's about doing the work of the Lord by any means necessary. He goes to the island on the first day, and it is reported on his social media that a young Sentinelese tribal warrior shoots an arrow, and the arrow punctures his waterproof Bible. That is what happens on the first day. And so when we read, and when I go into this, I'm not trying to disrespect John Allen Chau. I'm simply trying to and missionaries so that in the future we have lessons learned that we can continue to employ. So here we go. The book Mark 6. Y'all just stay with me here. So what we have here, let me make sure that I am showing you what I'm, because Ubers to get experience. So what I want you to the Bible. I want you to turn to Mark chapter 6. Mark chapter 6, you all. Mark chapter 6, and I want to make sure, is this thing on? Come on, make sure that you're on. Make sure that you're on. Come on, come on. You got to get up there. Come on, technology. You can do this. I got to make sure these folks see this thing. Yeah. So what we're going to do, we're going to go over here. And I'm going to get right there. It is about to show. Yes. There we go. There we go right there. So as we go to Mark chapter 6, I want you to turn. Where is it? It is the New Living Translation. Yes, here it is. Mark chapter 6. Oh, no, you got to end in the music. You got to make sure that you stay where I put you. Chapter 6. And I want you to look at verse 10, when Jesus sends out the 12 disciples. It says, wherever you go, he said, stay in the same house until you leave town. But if any place refuses to welcome you or shake your feet, and as you leave, to show that you have abandoned those people in their fate. I'm going to say that one more time. Essentially, what he's saying is, when you go into these places, refuses to welcome you, or don't go back, shake the dust from your feet as you leave. One more time. As you leave. That means don't go back. As you exit that territory, to show that you have abandoned those people to their fate. Well, as we learned what happened with John Allen Chau, he did not leave. He did not leave. He actually went after he was shot with the arrow, and the arrow struck his waterproof Bible. It was reported that the next day he got in his kayak and went back to the island. And quite honestly, he was murdered. And so this is what I want to say right now. Here's a number one point that I'm trying to convey. I love the missionary purpose. I love the fact that we're supposed to go out there and proclaim the gospel to those who don't know it. But here's where I have to get in my country bag and tell you like this. There's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to skin a cat, you all. I believe that if we realize that India has declared that region is illegal to go, and oh, by the way, the Indian folk really don't even bother with that island. If they have declared that it's dangerous and it's illegal to go there, I don't think that we should be going there. I think that God, first of all, has blessed us with so much technology whereby we can be intellectual in our missionaries. We can be intellectual with our evangelism, meaning we could come up with some funds and actually we can use drones. We can use drones to actually airdrop. We can airdrop phones. We can airdrop iPads. We can airdrop. That Facebook has a product now where it's specifically exploiting, the FaceTime capability, live stream. So it appears as though you're like right in the same room as a person. We can use all those tools to actually do what Jesus said too. We can use those tools to baptize folks. We can use those tools to actually try to teach those folks the teachings that we have learned, in a respectful manner. It doesn't have to always be us having to go there. Yes, we're zealous and yes, we're excited, but sometimes we got to be smart too. So y'all, this is a call to action right now for those who are missionaries, those who are trying to go out and spread the gospel. Let's find better ways to do this, efficient ways to do this. Let's use technology, because oftentimes technology can save lives. Okay, I understand, to the family of John Allen Chau, I commend him for doing this. But there are better ways to do this. Yeah. And so I don't just want you to believe me, but I don't want you to believe me and say, oh, Derrick says we don't have to actually be in the same environment to minister to the environment. You can also learn from Romans as well, y'all. So what we want to do is I want you to go to Romans. Yeah, y'all still with me. I want you to go to Romans, and I'm trying to turn in my Bible. Y'all just hold. I mean, this technology thing is a trip, isn't it? So we gotta go to Romans. Oh, where are you? New Living Translation. There we go. Oh my goodness, there it is. It's on the screen. As I wipe my sweat, because these softbox lights are killing me. Let's see here. Romans 1. No. Yeah, Romans 1. There you are. There. 1, and I believe it's 19. 19. Y'all bear with me. Yes. So this is what the word says. It's for the wrath of God from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, righteousness, because that is manifest in them for God unto them. This is when it really provides insight. Romans chapter 1, verse 20. For the invisible things of him, talking about God, since the creation of the world are clearly seen, perceived through the things that are made, even his everlasting power and divinity, that they may not be without excuse. I know I just read a lengthy passage there, but if you don't hear anything, what it is saying is, or what it is communicating in terms of application is, oftentimes people learn about God not through God's people, but through God's creation. I'm gonna say that one more time. Sometimes some people, they don't have to get the Bible thumping from a preacher. They don't have to get missionaries. Sometimes people learn about God simply through his creation. For those who wake up every morning when it doesn't fall out the sky, and they see the moon every night in its place and it doesn't fall out the sky, and they see the waves on the island come back, but they always recede. They don't take over the island. So they see the wind, it comes, and they don't know the direction that it comes from. Come on now, that they understand that couldn't just be man-made. It has to be some higher power orchestrating and just doing all of that. Oftentimes what it's saying is, they can understand God by his creation, what it's saying. And to hear, that's just another bit of information that sometimes we don't have to make it our business. I know we're zealous and we want to go over there and do things. Sometimes when we act smartly, we can realize that, hey, the lessons of God, the teachings of God can be revealed God and not man sometimes. All right. So y'all, if you're still with me, I just wanted to go back here and close this thing out. I first of all wanted to say I commend John Allen Chau. I commend him because he did something that few Christians do. You all right here under the sound of my voice know some people in your neighborhood, at your school, at your job, who say they are Christians, but do the opposite. It could be in so many different categories. As I clear this out here, it could be so many different categories. It could be, God tells them to love, but you don't ever see any love from them. God tells them that, vengeance is mine, but they always want to take the vengeance. God tells them all this stuff. He even tells them to go out and make disciples of all nations, but they don't ever go out. They just want to be at home. And I tell you what, John Allen Chau was not going to be a part of that group. He actually was going to go further and bring souls into the kingdom, although there were some lessons learned from his journey. We have to commend the zeal. So right now, I just want to say, Lord, please forgive police for their actions. Yeah, they knew not what they were doing. Yeah, I don't care if you Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever. I don't care what you are. The unmerited killing, that doesn't fly. That doesn't fly with the God I serve. No, 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 no. That doesn't fly. Just because somebody comes to you and then you kill them, no, no. That doesn't fly with the God I serve. So forgive them of their sins. Also empower us to understand that, there's some smart ways of doing things. And as I close, I just want to give a call to action to another group of people too. For those out there who have goals, who have dreams, who have missions that they want to complete, let John Allen Chau be an example to you, to show you that you got to get out of your comfort zone, that you have to go further away that you are accustomed to ensure that you're actually being what you're hearing. I'm gonna say that one more time. A lot of us hear stuff, but we're not being what we're hearing. Yeah. So all the pep rallies that you have in your house and your car, and because you're trying to do all these great things and you're being changed every day. Okay, that's wonderful. You're hearing all this stuff. You're hearing podcasts, you're hearing teachings, you're hearing sermons, you're hearing stuff from workshops. That's wonderful. You're going to be like John and actually be about it. Lastly, as I close, episode number 15 of the Derrick Cash Podcast, Christian Missionaries. Some people talk it, but John Allen Chau walked it. He walked it. That's all that matters. Everybody learn from him and move on. You all, as you go and complete wonderful things in your lives, y'all do me a favor. If you received any value from this podcast, go ahead and follow me on IG, Instagram. That's at Derrick Anthony Cash, at DERRICHONY. And also, as I go, if you need to understand, we all need to understand that the Derrick Cash Podcast is on iTunes. Yeah, on iTunes, write me a review. Write me a review, because I learned that when you write reviews, many groups of people who don't even know about the podcast, that's a way of informing them about this work that we're doing. All right. So y'all do me that favor, and I appreciate you all support. All right. People, are you living? Or are you just existing? Are you complaining? Or are you going to tremble? Or are you going to allow your emotions to clash? Tell you what, it makes no difference, because right now you were just tuned in to the Derrick Cash Podcast. And if you're going to talk about it, be about it, as John Allen Chau did. All right.
And I look and I see you smiling. And I know